Today we'll be talking about chemical bonding. Some of you might remember that when we were studying metals and non-metals, there we had talked about electrovalent or ionic bond. We had also drawn a lot of Lewis dot structures for different ionic compounds. Today we'll be focusing on the covalent compounds, and then later on we will be comparing ionic compounds and covalent compounds. So let's start. Again, some of you might be thinking that chemical bonding, this chapter is not there for CBSE people, but all the contents that I'm going to talk about today, they are included in another chapter, which is carbon and its compounds. Me the message that she sent. Anyhow, so what exactly is a chemical bond? Suppose you have a molecule. In that molecule, let me explain with an example. Suppose I have a molecule like HCl, hydrochloric acid, the simplest one. So here we show it like this, no, with this line. What does this line actually indicate? This line indicates a chemical bond. So if I want to define chemical bond, it is just a force of attraction between different atoms in a molecule. So this HCl is a molecule, right? And by this line, we are showing the force of attraction between different atoms in HCl. So this is what a chemical bond is. It is the force of attraction between different atoms in a molecule. The force of attraction between different atoms in a molecule. So imagine if this force was not there, then a molecule wouldn't have been formed. How are hydrogen atom and chlorine atom staying together? Because of this force of attraction. So this chemical bond, it provides stability to a molecule. So which provides stability to a molecule? Stability to the molecule is known as chemical bond. Fine. This is a very simple definition of a chemical bond. And these chemical bonds, they may be of different types. We will see two of them today and one of them in the next class. Next. We have read in the last chapter what metals and non-metals are. So I'll just quickly revise it because we will be using it a lot today. So metals are those atoms that want to lose electrons to become like noble gas. So metals, they lose electrons to become like noble gas. Okay? All the gases want to become like noble gases because noble gases are very peaceful. They either have a duplet or an octet configuration. They either have 2 atoms in their outermost shell or they have 8 atoms in their outermost shell. So all other elements, they want to become like noble gases. Metals are those elements that lose electrons, and non-metals, they gain electrons to become like noble gas. Gain electrons to become like noble gas or to have a stable octet. Let me give you an example. Suppose I have sodium. So sodium element, its atomic number is 11. So its configuration would be 2, 8, 1. If it wants to become like noble gas, what can it do? It can lose this 1 electron. If it loses this electron, what charge will come on it? Sodium will become Na plus. So whenever an atom loses electron, it becomes positively charged. That is why metals are also known as electropositive elements. Electropositive elements. because they lose electrons and then they become positively charged. So the configuration of Na plus would be 2, 8 because it has already donated one electron. Fine. And same thing I can also write in the form of an equation. Na minus one electron, because it is losing one electron, it gives me Na plus. Similarly, for non-metals, let me take example of chlorine. So chlorine, its atomic number is 17. So its configuration is 2, 8, 7. So to become like noble gas, what it can do is it can gain one electron. Then it will become like argon. So if it gains one electron, it becomes Cl minus. And Cl minus, the configuration would be 2, 8, 8 because Cl has gained one electron. And I can write it in the form of an equation. Cl plus one electron gives me Cl minus or chloride ion. And just a quick revision of the fact that positive ions are called cations and negative ions are called anions. So negative ions are called anions. And we can see metals and non-metals in the periodic table also. If we look at the leftmost part of the periodic table, this blue part or the S block, here we have the metals. Similarly, here also we see some blue part, no? So this blue part is the metallic part of the periodic table. These are all the metals. Even in this D block, some of the elements are metals here. Like if we see the elements in the third period, all of these are metals, and most of these D block elements are also metals. So these S block elements are metals, D block elements are metals, and some of the P block elements are also metals. This is P block. Fine. And if we talk about non-metals, so for non-metals, whatever is shown here in green, this green part is the non-metallic part of the periodic table. Then in the pink, here we have the noble gases. Noble gases are in the 18th group. These are all the noble gases. And then we see something in dark peach color: silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, polonium, astatine. All of these in dark orange or dark peach color, they are known as metalloids. Their properties are between metals and non-metals. So, what are the various types of chemical bonds? In this, we will be seeing three types of bonds. First one is covalent bond. Covalent bond. The second one is known as electrovalent bond. This electrovalent bond is also known as ionic bond. This we have seen in the last class of chemistry. And the third one, which might be new for some of you, this is known as coordinate bond. So I'll also be talking about it briefly, coordinate bond. And let's dive right in. Okay, cannot change the slide. So we'll start with covalent bond. So a covalent bond is that type of bond in which the two elements are sharing electrons. Suppose we have, say, hydrogen, okay, and we have chlorine. What do you think? Which of these are metals? Which of these are non-metals? Which is metal here?
Chlorine is metal and hydrogen is non-metal.
So both of them are actually non-metals. So let me take you back to the periodic table. Here, if you see chlorine, chlorine is over here in green color, no? And see, hydrogen also is green in color. So they are both non-metals. Fine. So because they are both non-metals, these type of atoms usually form covalent bonds. Because see, since both are non-metals, hydrogen also has a tendency to gain electron and chlorine also has a tendency to gain electron. So if both of them are gaining electron, then how can they achieve a stable octet? If I say that hydrogen, the atomic number is 1. For chlorine, the atomic number is 17. Okay? We'll write their electronic configurations also. Electronic configuration of hydrogen is just 1. And chlorine is 2, 8, 7. So what should happen? It should happen that hydrogen should give this 1 electron to chlorine. Right? In an ideal case, that should have happened. If hydrogen gives 1 electron to chlorine, hydrogen will have 0 electrons, it will be stable. Even chlorine would have 2, 8, 8 configuration. So chlorine also will be stable. But that does not happen because both of these are non-metals. Since both of these are non-metals, none of them want to lose their electron. So hydrogen doesn't want to lose its electron. It wants to gain an electron because it is a non-metal. Chlorine also is a non-metal. It also wants to gain electron. So if hydrogen gains an electron, it will become like helium. And if chlorine gains an electron, it will become like argon. So what is the solution then? If hydrogen cannot donate its electron to chlorine, the only solution that we have is that both of them share their electrons. If both of them share their electrons, then their problems will be solved. So what can happen here? Hydrogen. So we are going to draw Lewis dot structure. You remember in Lewis dot structure, we only show the valence electrons. So hydrogen has only one valence electron, and valence electron is the electrons in the outermost shell. So here, hydrogen has a single electron. Let me show it with a cross. And if I want to show chlorine, chlorine has 7 electrons in the outermost shell. So let me show them with dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just so here, hydrogen and chlorine, they will share these 2 electrons. And if they share these 2 electrons, see what will happen. Now, hydrogen has these 2 electrons in its outermost shell. It is like helium. And chlorine, it has 8 electrons in the outermost shell. See, if you see inside the circle, chlorine has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 electrons. So both of them are stable now. Both of them have noble gas configuration. So this is known as covalent bond, and it is usually formed between two or more non-metals. Fine? Between two or more non-metals. Of course, there are some special cases in which a metal and a non-metal form covalent bond, but that is beyond the scope of the syllabus right now. You will learn it in class 11th. It is known as diagonal relationship. So let me write the definition of a covalent bond. So a covalent bond, I think we have a new person who has joined, Meghna's friend, Aradhya. Hi Aradhya, this is your first class and we are talking about chemical bonding, electrovalent bond and covalent bond, and right now we are discussing covalent bonds. So covalent bonds are formed by the sharing of electrons between the atoms. So let me define covalent bond. So it is a chemical bond between two atoms formed by sharing of electrons. Formed by sharing of electrons. So these type of bonds are known as covalent bonds. Okay? And let me write a note here that a covalent bond is usually formed between two non-metals. Usually formed between two non-metals. Such a bond is known as a covalent bond. Fine. So I think we should move forward now. We will see a few examples. I'll show you how to draw the Lewis dot structure of a few compounds. So formation of chlorine gas. Will anyone tell me the formula of chlorine gas?
Cl2.
Cl2.
Yeah, it is Cl2. Some of you will just go and write Cl. That would be wrong. Chlorine gas is actually Cl2 because chlorine is a diatomic gas. You remember what is atomicity? It is the number of atoms that stay together in a molecule. So in chlorine, the atomicity is 2, or chlorine is a diatomic gas. So let me first write the configuration. Chlorine is 17. So 2, 8, 7. Fine. And we have another chlorine atom. This is also 2, 8, 7. So both of them need one electron. But both of them are non-metals. None of them wants to lose their electron. So they can just share one electron with each other. So let me just draw that. We have two chlorine atoms. First of all, we draw the skeleton. We draw the atoms. Then we start drawing their valence electrons. So in chlorine, we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And in this chlorine also, since both are chlorine atoms, I'm showing both of them with cross. Fine. So now this one electron, if both of them share, then what will happen? Let me draw some colorful circles here. Now this chlorine will have 8 electrons in its outermost shell. And similarly, this chlorine also, it has 8 electrons in its outermost shell. Okay? And how can we show it in the form of a chemical bond? We can simply write this Cl Google Meet. So the pen is not working now for some reason. Wow. Let me just rub that out. So we have one chlorine atom. It is forming a single bond with another chlorine atom. Why is it a single bond? We know that one bond is made of 2 electrons. So one covalent bond is made of 2 electrons. So here in the shared portion, what do we see? We see only 2 electrons. That means that it is just a single bond. Okay. So when this question comes, draw the structure of chlorine gas. You have to do this much of work. Now we come to the next example, hydrogen chloride. So I've already stated this example. Let me just show it again. Hydrogen, atomic number is 1. Electronic configuration is just 1. Chlorine is Cl and the configuration is 2, 8, 7. Both are non-metals, so they will share one electron. So this is hydrogen and its electron. This is chlorine and all of its valence electrons. So since chlorine needs only one electron to become like noble gas, it is only going to share one electron. So here chlorine has an octet configuration and hydrogen has a duplet configuration. It has two atoms in its outermost shell, so this is also stable. And how can we show it? We can show it like this. This is also a single covalent bond. Okay. Now let me just go back and give you a question. Yes. Try to solve this question. We have an atom X and its configuration is 2, 8, 18, 8, 1. So if it wants to become like noble gas, it can do one thing. It can either lose this electron or it can gain 7 electrons. But losing one electron is easier. So X will just lose one electron. So if X loses one electron, what is it? Is it a metal or a non-metal? So we know that metals lose electrons. That is why we can say that X is a metal. And what will the ion formed be? So we know that whenever an element loses an electron, it becomes positively charged. So it will form X plus. So Omkar, I saw your answer, but if we go back to this slide, you see here that metals, when they lose electron, they form positive ions or cations. So that is why X will form X plus because it is losing one electron. So first question is solved now. Now part B. Part B is saying, is X an oxidizing agent or a reducing agent? So here we'll be using some concepts of redox reaction. What happens over there? Here, if we see X is losing one electron. X minus one electron to give X plus. Fine. And if you remember, an atom, it has zero charge on it. An atom is electrically neutral. So X has zero charge on it. And when it loses one electron, it becomes X plus. So from 0, the charge has become plus 1. It's just plus, but I can write it as plus 1 also, no? This is the same thing. So the charge on X has increased from 0 to plus 1. That means that X has been oxidized. X is oxidized because the charge on X has increased or the oxidation number has increased. Now, we also know from redox reaction that an element which gets oxidized is actually the reducing agent. Do you remember that? An element which gets oxidized, it is actually a good reducing agent. Therefore, X is a reducing agent. So, Omkar, if you couldn't understand that, you can just go to our YouTube channel and you will find a video that I made on redox reaction. In fact, two videos. So, you can just refer to those videos. X is a reducing agent. Is this clear? Rishabh, did you understand now?
Yes, ma'am.
Even Vedant and Omkar, I got some mixed answers here. So I hope it's clear now. X is being oxidized. So it is a reducing agent.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let me move to the next example, which is ammonia. So what is the formula of ammonia? What is the formula of ammonia? NH3. Yes, thank you. Ammonia is NH3. So it has one nitrogen atom and three hydrogen atoms. So if I want to write their configurations, we have nitrogen. Nitrogen's atomic number is 7. You have to learn all the atomic numbers. So its configuration is 2, 5. And hydrogen's atomic number is just 1. So it's only 1. The electronic configuration is just 1. So here we see that we have 3 hydrogen atoms and only 1 nitrogen atom. So this H, it's actually 3 of them, right? So how can all of them, see, all of them are non-metals. Nitrogen is a non-metal, hydrogen also is a non-metal. That is why they are going to form a covalent bond. And how can they do this? Any guesses? Anyone? Anyone wants to answer this? How can we form ammonia here? Okay, let me explain you.
I think the three H atoms would share their electrons with nitrogen.
Yeah, that's right. So let me just draw a diagram. We have nitrogen and it has 5 electrons in the outermost shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And we also have 3 hydrogen atoms. So one can share its electron over here. Another hydrogen can share its electron over here. And the third atom can share its electron over here. But our answer is not yet complete. Now we have to show that their octets or duplets are complete. So for nitrogen, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nitrogen has all of these electrons because hydrogen is sharing its electron. So nitrogen's octet is complete. For hydrogen, see, its duplet is complete. Here also its duplet is complete. And here also its duplet is complete. So in your exam, you can expect questions are for 2 to 4 marks from whatever I'm teaching today. And if I want to draw it in a simpler manner, I can show that yes, nitrogen is forming single bonds with 3 hydrogen atoms and 2 of its electrons are left here. These 2 electrons, which are not forming any bond with any other atom, this pair of electrons is known as a lone pair. This is known as a lone pair of electrons. So what are lone pair of electrons? Which are not forming any bond with any other atom. These are known as lone pair electrons. So when I explain coordinate bond, there we'll need to know what a lone pair is. But here in this bond also there are 2 electrons, no? So this pair of electrons here, this is known as a bond pair because it is forming a bond with another atom. So we should know the difference between bond pair of electrons and lone pair of electrons. Lone pair of electrons, let me write it for clarity. Lone pair does not form bond with another atom. But if we talk about bond pair is shared by 2 atoms. Shared by 2 atoms. Fine. So this is important to know. Chalo, let's move on to the next. Oh, it's a question. Yes, come on, people. This time I want more answers. Only some of you are answering. All of you should answer. This is from one of the previous year's paper. See, the first step would be to understand that atomic number gives us the number of protons. Fine. And if it is an atom, number of protons are equal to the number of electrons. We have nothing to do with mass number here. Mass number has just been given to confuse us. We only need the atomic numbers. So what is atomic number? It is the number of protons. And here these are all atoms. So number of protons and number of electrons are equal here. P plus E minus. So for atom A, which is atomic number 20, let us first write all of their electronic configurations. So 20 would be 2, 8, 8, 2. 9 would be 2, 7. C3 would be 2, 1. 8 is 2, 6. And E is 7, which is 2, 5. These are the electronic configurations. So the first question is, which of them contains 7 protons? So atomic number is the number of protons. That means that E has 7 protons. Okay. Then the second part has an electronic configuration 2, 7. So we wrote no 2, 7 is atom B. Third, write down the formula of the compound formed between C and D. So this is a tricky one. Let us see C and D. C has electronic configuration 2, 1. So that means if it wants to become like noble gases, it will donate 1 electron. So C is 2, 1. To become like noble gas, it will give off this electron. So if it loses an electron, it will form C plus. Fine. And what about D? D's electronic configuration is 2, 6. So if this wants to become like a noble gas, what will it do? It will gain 2 electrons. So if D gains 2 electrons, it will become D2 minus. It will become D2 minus. Fine. So this is a metal because it is electropositive. This is a non-metal because it is electronegative. So it is going to form an ionic or an electrovalent bond. And how will we do? First we write the cation, then we write the anion, and then we exchange the charges to write the formula. What do we get? 2 will come here. So C2D. This is the answer here. So here the answer is C2D. I hope that's clear. Now we have to find out which are metals and which are non-metals. First one, it will donate 2 electrons. So this is a metal. Second one, it will gain 1 electron to become like noble gas. So it is a non-metal. Third, 2, 1. It is going to donate 1 electron. It is again a metal. Then 2, 6. It is gaining 2 electrons. Non-metal. 2, 5. If it wants to become like noble gas, it has to gain 3 electrons or lose 5 electrons. So gaining 3 electrons is easier for E. That is why even E is a non-metal. So I hope you have understood this question. So I'm just adding to it. I want you to write the formula of a compound formed between A and E. Between A and E, what compound will they form? Hello, wake up. Yes, Omkar, your answer is right, but the B part is wrong. You have written CD. It should be C2D because D pay, it is getting 2 minus charge, no? So Omkar is saying it is AE2. Krish is saying A3E2. Anyone else wants to answer? You can just type in the chat box. I'll just start explaining. So A is 2, 8, 8, 2. If it wants to become like noble gas, it is going to donate 2 electrons. So it will form A2 plus. Okay. And for E is 2, 5. So it gains 3 electrons to become stable. So it forms E3 minus. So we have A2 plus and we have E3 minus. So how do we write the formula? We'll do A2 plus E3 minus and exchange their valencies. So we get A3E2. Wow, got many correct answers. Thank you, people. So I think this is clear now. Chalo. Now let's draw what methane looks like. So methane is the main constituent of something known as biogas, and we have seen the formula of methane before. What is the formula of methane?
CH4?
Yeah, correct. Methane is CH4. Omkar, just notice this. Methane is CH4 with a capital H. Oh, I think that was a typo. Fine. So Vedant, in methane, we'll have a capital H. So be careful about that. So methane is CH4 with a capital H again. And let us write the electronic configuration of different atoms here. So carbon is atomic number 6. So it would be 2, 4. Hydrogen is atomic number 1. So it will just be 1. So carbon is a non-metal. Hydrogen also is a non-metal. That is why they will share electrons. So what will happen? We have carbon. It has 4 electrons. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We have 4 hydrogen atoms. So one of them comes over here with its electron. One of them comes over here with its electron. Another hydrogen atom comes here. And one more hydrogen atom comes over here. So let us see if their duplets and octets are complete or not. So for carbon, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 electrons. Okay. And hydrogen, its duplet is complete. It has now become like helium. So hydrogen also is stable now. So this is what methane looks like. And I can show it in this form. So when I teach organic chemistry next month, all of this will be like child's play. Fine. Let's move on to the next example. Formation of water. So for water, the formula is H2O. Oxygen atom, it has an atomic number of 8, which is 2, 6. Hydrogen, atomic number is 1, so just 1. Now again, oxygen is a non-metal, hydrogen is a non-metal. So they are going to share electrons. Oxygen needs 2 electrons to become stable. So it will share 2 electrons, right? So oxygen, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 electrons. And hydrogen has only 1 electron. But there are 2 hydrogen atoms. No, it is H2O. So hydrogen here. Now if you see oxygen, what is happening? It has 8 electrons. Hydrogen has 2 electrons. This hydrogen also has 2 electrons. Fine. So now I have a question. How many lone pairs are present on oxygen atom? How many lone pairs are present on oxygen atom in water?
2.
Yeah, that's correct. Because we see one lone pair here, it is not forming bonds with any other atom. We also see one lone pair here, it is not forming bonds with any other atom. So we get oxygen in between. Then there are two. Okay, Krish, you have to mute yourself. Yeah. So oxygen, it has one bond pair with hydrogen, another bond pair with another hydrogen, and on the top you see a lone pair here and a lone pair here. So this is the structure of water molecule. Of course, if you talk about the 3D arrangement of water molecule, both the lone pairs are present on the top. So a more appropriate representation, which is not required in class 10th, but just to be correct, the two lone pairs are present on same side of oxygen atom, like this. And water has a V shape. See, inverted V, no? It has a V shape. Okay. Next is carbon tetrachloride. So again, formula first. Carbon and tetra means 4. Tetra means 4. So matlab, there are 4 chlorine atoms. So ClCl4. This is carbon tetrachloride. Carbon atomic number is 6. So the configuration is 2, 4. Chlorine configuration is 2, 8, 7. See, now carbon needs 4 electrons for stable configuration. So carbon will share 4 electrons. Chlorine needs one atom, one electron to become like noble gas. So chlorine will share 1 electron. Carbon will share 4 electrons. Chlorine will share only 1 electron. So what will it look like? Let me take another color. Yeah. We have carbon, and these are the 4 electrons, valence electrons of carbon. It is going to share all 4 of these. So we have a chlorine atom here, another one here, one over here, and one over here. So chlorine has 7 valence electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and chlorine needs 1 electron. So it will only share 1 electron. So it's the same for all the chlorine atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Same thing here also. Repetition. Okay? But our work is not over. We still have to show that their octets are complete. So for carbon, see, it shared this electron. So these two, and these two. Carbon has 8 electrons. If you see this chlorine atom, it also has 8 electrons now. It has shared one with carbon. This and this. So all the atoms have a stable octet now. And we can show it as C, single bond Cl, single bond Cl, single bond Cl, single bond Cl. This is carbon tetrachloride. Not too tough, right? Okay. Oh, another question. So is it a tough one? Chalo, let me discuss. An element burns in oxygen to form an ionic bond, MO. It is forming MO. Even Meghna and Krish, Arushi, all of them have given answers. Let's see. So if it is forming MO, if MO is the formula of oxide, let's see what was the charge on M. MO, we know that it is an oxide. So oxide ion has O2 minus, right? This is oxide ion, O2 minus. So what should M be? What should M be such that the formula, if we exchange the valencies, we get the formula as MO? What should the charge on M be such that when M and O form a compound, we get the formula of the oxide as MO? So that means that M can only have 2 plus charge on it. Then only this 2 and 2 will get cancelled and the formula would be MO. So now we know that this element M actually had 2 plus charge on it. Now the next part. Write the formula of the compounds formed if this element is made to combine with chlorine. So what is chloride ion? Cl minus. So if we see the formula, it would be MCl2. Okay, and let's do the same thing for sulfur. So we know that sulfide ion is S2 minus. So this 2 and 2, they will balance out and we'll just get the formula as MS. So very good, Meghna. And others, I hope you have understood now how to go about such questions. First, you have to find the charge on the element M, and then you can move ahead. Fine. Let's now move on to the next example. Formation of oxygen gas. Oxygen gas, again, oxygen atomicity is 2. So we have O2. We'll write their configurations. O is atomic number 8, 2, 6. And we have 2 oxygen atoms, 2, 6. So now see, oxygen, it needs 2 electrons to complete its valence shell. That is why both of these will be sharing 2 electrons, because they need 2 more electrons to become stable like noble gas. So they will both be sharing 2 electrons. So oxygen is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is going to share these 2 electrons with another oxygen. So this oxygen is sharing these 2 electrons. Okay, so if we see this octet of this oxygen atom, it is complete. It has 8 electrons. Same thing for this oxygen atom also, it has 8 electrons. So I hope you have understood one point, that the number of electrons an atom needs to become stable is the number of electrons that it shares with another atom. Oxygen needed 2 electrons, so it is going to share 2 electrons. Fine. And see, in this bonding portion over here, we see that there are 4 electrons. That means that there are 2 bonds, because one bond has 2 electrons. So 2 bonds will have 4 electrons. So how can we show it? Oxygen, oxygen, there is a double bond between them. And then both of them have 2 lone pairs also. Oops. So each oxygen atom here has 2 lone pairs and 2 bond pairs. So is it clear? So here this was a double bond, double covalent bond. Till now we had only been seeing single bonds. Okay. Let us move to the next example. If I'm going too fast or too slow, let me know. Formation of nitrogen gas. So here, I'm not going to draw anything. You answer in the chat box, what will nitrogen gas look like? So you just, in the chat box, you can type this final structure, like oxygen, double bond oxygen, no? What will happen in the case of nitrogen? Okay, getting a few answers. ठीक है, it's 2,5, but I need the structure of the final nitrogen gas. What will it look like? You are just telling me the electronic configuration. I need the structure. Like oxygen, double bond oxygen was there, no? Or chlorine, single bond chlorine was there. What will it be in the case of nitrogen gas? So Omkar is giving some answer. We'll see if it's right or not. Okay, let's discuss this now. Nitrogen gas again is diatomic, so it is N2. Nitrogen is electronic configuration 2, 5. Yes, Arushi, thank you. Thank you, Krish. So there are two nitrogen atoms, 2, 5. So because this nitrogen atom, it needs 3 electrons to become like noble gas. Therefore, it is going to share 3 electrons. I also need how many lone pairs are present on each nitrogen atom. So people who have solved this first part, now answer the second part. How many lone pairs are present on each nitrogen atom? Yes, Shivansh, very good. One lone pair. Good. So let's draw now. We have one nitrogen atom. We know that it is going to share 3 electrons. And we have another nitrogen atom. So first, let's take care of the sharing part. These 3 electrons will be shared with the nitrogen atom. Okay. And nitrogen has 5 electrons in total, 5 valence electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here also 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see if their octets are complete now. Yes, this nitrogen, the octet is complete. Even for this other nitrogen, the octet is complete. Now, if I show the structural formula, it would be nitrogen. There are 6 electrons in this common shared portion, no? So that means that there are 3 bonds. And each nitrogen has one lone pair also. So this is the answer. Thank you for your answers, people. Next, formation of carbon dioxide. Try. Again, give me the answer like you did in the chat box. So carbon dioxide, I can just tell you the formula, that the formula is CO2. You have to do the rest of the work. Okay. I'm getting answers. Omkar and Rishabh are trying. Let's see how correct they are. Okay, I'll wait for 10 seconds and then start explaining. What about others? Let me name Vedant, Khushi, Satvik, Pooja, Meghna, Anika. Come on, give me some answers. Anupam. Okay, try. I'll wait for some more time, but keep trying. So, how many of you hate chemistry? Rishabh loves it. Chalo, now let me explain this question. Again, the same concepts. Carbon, the electronic configuration is 2, 4. So carbon 2, 4. And oxygen is atomic number 8, so 2, 6. So if we see this, we can say that carbon needs 4 electrons, right? So carbon will share 4 electrons. Because it needs 4 electrons, it is going to share 4 electrons with oxygen. And oxygen needs only 2 electrons. So oxygen will share 2 electrons. It will share only 2 electrons. Okay. So let's try to draw it now. Carbon is in between. And on either side, we have 2 oxygen atoms. So we saw here that oxygen, each atom will share 2 electrons. So this oxygen atom, it is sharing 2 electrons. Even this oxygen atom, it is sharing 2 electrons. Fine. Let's draw the other electrons. There are total of 6, no? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So each oxygen atom has shared 2 electrons with carbon. But we know that carbon will share 4 electrons, right? And carbon only has 4 electrons. So the electrons of carbon will be like this. It will share 2 with this oxygen atom. It will share 2 with the other oxygen atom. Okay. Now, if we try to see that if their valence shells are complete or not, what will happen? Carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Its configuration is complete. Right? For this oxygen atom also, the configuration is complete. And even here, this oxygen atom, the configuration is complete. So what is the final structure? So Meghna is not able to see the presentation. Okay. So see here in the shared portion, there are 4 electrons. That means it's a double bond. So carbon, double bond oxygen. Carbon, double bond oxygen. What about the number of lone pairs on carbon? How many lone pairs are there on carbon?
2.
But where are the 2 lone pairs? It had only 4 electrons in the outermost shell and it has shared all of them. So all of them have become bond pairs. Where do we see any lone pair?
Then no lone pair.
Yeah. Carbon does not have any lone pair. Carbon has 0 lone pairs. Okay, we'll now see a slightly complicated example, which is of sulfur molecule. Do you remember the atomicity of sulfur? Sulfur molecule has how many sulfur atoms? So the atomicity of sulfur is 8. So it forms S8. So for CBSE people, this is a question from your book, in text question. So sulfur has atomicity of 8. So sulfur molecule would be S8. Okay. And I'll give you a hint. Sulfur forms, S8 forms a ring. So it is a ringed molecule. It is a cyclic molecule. And can you try and draw its structure now? That's a tough one, no? Class. Yeah, Meghna, I'll do that. Here. Okay. No, Omkar, it is there in your syllabus. It is also a covalent compound, no? So it's not like in the exam you'll only be asked questions from your own book. They are going to ask questions outside of Selena. You have Viraf J. Dalal, right? For your textbook. That's what I studied from in class 10th. So S8 forms a ring. Let's see how to draw sulfur molecule. It is interesting and the structure is very beautiful. So sulfur atom is atomic number 16. So it would be 2, 8, 6. So that means that sulfur, it needs 2 electrons to become like a noble gas. That means that sulfur will share 2 electrons. It needs 2 electrons. So it is going to share 2 electrons, right? I said that S8, it forms a ring of 8 sulfur atoms. So let me draw the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, these are the 8 sulfur atoms. First, we draw basic skeleton. Now we know that each sulfur atom is going to share 2 electrons. So let's go to this sulfur atom first. So the sulfur atom, it has a total of 6 valence electrons, no? So let's show them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so it will share 2 electrons, one with the next sulfur atom, another one with the previous sulfur atom. So let me move on in the ring. So this electron will be shared with this sulfur atom, right? And this electron will be shared with the next sulfur atom. Now this sulfur atom has again 6 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. Now let us complete this sulfur atom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Let's see if their octets are actually being completed or not. So for this sulfur atom, 6 electrons are here, one from here, another one from here. So see here, this sulfur will form a single bond with the next sulfur because they are sharing one electron. So the diagram becomes like this. So we can see that the octet of this sulfur atom is complete. Okay. Now we'll draw the same thing for the next sulfur atom. So this sulfur atom, it is sharing one electron from the previous one. It will share one electron from the next one. Right? And this sulfur has again 6 outermost shell electrons like this. So if we talk about the second sulfur atom, it will be like this. So again, its octet is complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 electrons. Same thing for the next sulfur atom. It will share one electron with this one. And this has again 6 electrons. So for the third sulfur atom, it will be like this. Its octet is also complete. Now, for this sulfur atom, it will share another electron with this. So its outermost shell is also complete, 8 electrons. See, each boundary around an atom should have 8 electrons. Now this sulfur, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. One electron is being shared with this atom. So 1, if we complete its octet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just repeating the same process. Here, this sulfur atom, it's like this. 8 electrons. This sulfur atom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is sharing one electron with this, one electron with the previous sulfur atom. So the diagram looks like this. Okay, I hope you're not getting bored. We are nearing the last part now. So this sharing one electron with this, another electron with this sulfur atom. So again, it has 8 electrons. And now the last sulfur atom sharing one electron with this, one electron with this. So it becomes like this. How was it? Have you understood or should I explain it again? Yeah, Shivansh, very good. So let me draw a structural diagram now, simpler one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of them are forming single bonds. And each sulfur atom, you see, two lone pairs are unbonded. So it has 2 lone pairs. Each sulfur atom has 2 lone pairs. So when they teach in school, no, you all can brag that you know the answer already. Your teacher will be mighty impressed. 3, 4. Okay, so if you have understood this, yeah, the diagram looks bad. Even mine is not looking too good because you have to place the electrons correctly. If you place the electrons at the correct position initially, then your diagram will look cleaner. Chalo, now formation of phosphorus molecule. Phosphorus, the atomicity is 4. So it forms P4 molecule. So using the concepts that we have been using till now, let's try to solve this question. So phosphorus, the atomic number is 15. So this is 2, 8, 5. Yeah, Meghna, even mine looks like a group of amoeba. What to do? But this is the right answer. You can be sure of that. So it needs 3 electrons. That is why each phosphorus atom will share 3 electrons. So shall I discuss? This is again going to be a bit complicated, but interesting. So we have 4 phosphorus atoms now. Are you trying? Shall I wait for some time? ठीक है, try. I'll wait for a minute. This also is a ring. Correct, Meghna. Phosphorus also forms a ring. Oh no. So also tell me how many lone pairs are present on each phosphorus atom. So Khushi got so bored that she dropped off, I guess. What about Satvik? Is he here? So Krish is saying that there are 2 lone pairs on each phosphorus atom. Fine. Let's see. So I'll discuss it in 10 to 15 seconds if I don't get more answers. Okay, Rishabh, tell me what you got. How many lone pairs are present on each phosphorus atom? What did you get? Chalo, let me discuss this now. Even Anupam is getting 2 lone pairs on each. Let's see. So we have 4 phosphorus atoms. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they are forming a ring. Each phosphorus atom, it has 5 valence shell electrons. And we know that it will share 3 of its electrons. So if we talk about the first phosphorus atom, it is going to share 3 electrons. So let me just name them, number them so that it's easy for you to know where to look. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So if we talk about P1, first phosphorus atom, it has 5 valence shell electrons. It is going to share 3 of them. So it will share 1 electron with this sulfur atom, with P2. Okay. Then P1 will also share 1 electron with P3. And it will share 1 electron with P4. Okay. So this phosphorus, it should actually have 5 electrons, no? We drew three of them. Three of them are being shared by P2, P3, and P4. While one lone pair is just staying there. It is not forming any bonds. Okay. So same thing will happen in P2 also. P2 will share 3 electrons with each of the 3 phosphorus atoms. So one with P1, P2 will share one with P4, P2 will also share one with P3. Okay. And then P2 has 5 electrons in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is one lone pair. This is a lone pair here. This also is a lone pair. Now P3. P3 will also share 1 electron with each phosphorus atom. So it is sharing one with P2. It is sharing one with P1. Now it will share one with P4. So P4 and P3 are going to share 1 electron. Then P3 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the lone pair on P3. And what about P4? 1, 2, 3. It will share these 3 with P1, P2, and P3. And it will also have one lone pair. Okay. Now, if I try to see whether their octets are complete or not, how can I do that? For this first phosphorus atom, now here it's very difficult to form those rings that I was doing. But let me try. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It needs 3 more, no? So this was sharing one with P2. It was sharing one with P3. And it was sharing one with P4. Well, this is strange on another level. So if you see this boundary around P1, it has how many electrons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of them, 1 is lone pair, 3 are bond pairs. Now we have to do the same thing for P2. So P2 is sharing one with P1. It is sharing one with P4. It is sharing one with P3. So if you see the second oval, or shall I change the color? Let me change the color here. This circle is for P2. Oops. So P2 also has 8 electrons. Now the P3 part. So P3, it is sharing one with P2. It is sharing this electron with P2. It is also sharing one electron with P1. And it is sharing one electron with P4. So it looks complicated, but when I simplify it, it will be easy. Chalo, now the final for P4. It is sharing an electron with P1. It is sharing an electron with P2. It is sharing an electron with P3. And it has 5 electrons. So this is the structure of P4 molecule. Okay. Now let me simplify it. Like I said, so phosphorus, 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 phosphorus. This part you have to see clearly because it will make the structure seem to be very easy. So this phosphorus, the first one, P1, it will share 3 electrons with all 3 of the phosphorus atoms. And it has a lone pair. Okay. Similarly, for second, for P2, it will share 3 electrons with 3 phosphorus atoms. So one is this, one with this phosphorus, and one with this phosphorus. Okay. P2 forms 1-1 bond with P1, P3, and P4. Now let's move on to P3. P3 also does the same thing. Okay, P2 also has a lone pair. P3 also shares 1-1 electron with P2, P1, and P4. And it has a lone pair. Now if we see P4, P4 is sharing 3 electrons with P1, P2, and P3, and it has a lone pair. So this is the structure of P4. Although it looks very complicated, but it is not. All the bonds are single bond, all the phosphorus atoms are connected to each other, and each of them has one lone pair. Rishabh, you have described a very horrific view of phosphorus molecule, like four leeches eating each other because they didn't get any blood from someone else. Good, good. Fine. Is it clear? Yes, Shivansh, all of them are single covalent bonds. You see the structure on the right? This is a simplified diagram of the horrible diagram. So each phosphorus is having single covalent bonds with all other phosphorus atoms. That's it. So I can write all single covalent bonds and one lone pair on each phosphorus atom. So Meghna is asking, can we draw only the simplified diagram for exams? No, you have to draw both of them. And Omkar is asking, ma'am, can P2 exist? What is P2? The second phosphorus atom? Yeah, it does exist. Why won't it exist? So if there is any doubt here, you can ask me. Or if it's clear, let's move ahead. No doubts. Okay. Another question. So let me just help you out over here. Let me write all the formula of these ions. So we have sulfate. Sulfate ion is SO4 2 minus, all capitals. Nitrate is NO3 minus. So I have sent all of you a list, right? I'll send it to I have sent even to Dhruv and Vedant and Krish. So I'll send it to you, Omkar. You can just learn all of these, or you might be knowing because you must have been taught this in 7th, if I'm not wrong. Phosphate is PO4 3 minus. Carbonate is CO3 2 minus. Hydroxide is OH minus. So any answers? Are you thinking? Okay, Rishabh, it will form an electropositive ion, but what would be the charge on it? What ion would it form? And by the way, electropositive ion is just cation. Okay, you're right. So atom X has 2 electrons more than the noble gas configuration. So if I just want to take an example, I can say this, that maybe X is 2, 8, 18, 8, 2, something like this. It has 2 electrons more than noble gas configuration. So if it wants to become like noble gas, what would it do? It will donate these 2 electrons. So it will form X2 plus. Okay? Now the next part should be easy. You just have to write the formula of its sulfate, nitrate, phosphate, carbonate, and hydroxide. So let me just explain now. X2 plus, when it forms sulfate, 2 and 2, the charges get balanced and we just get XSO4. Next, X2 plus with nitrate. I'll interchange the charges and we'll get XNO3 whole twice. With phosphate, we have X2 plus PO4 3 minus. So it will be X3 PO4 twice. Oops. Next, carbonate. Charges 2 minus. So it will just be XCO3. And hydroxide, it will be XOH whole twice. Is this clear, people? Because people are slowly dropping off, so I'm not sure if you're understanding this. Fine. Let's now draw the structure of ethene. You have not read organic chemistry till now, but ethene, the formula is, I just wanted to give an example. C2H4. The formula is C2H4. So can you try to draw this diagram? You have to draw the electron dot structure of ethene. So just take a minute and try to draw this using the same basic concepts. And I was thinking today I'll complete covalent bond also. I'll complete electrovalent bond also. I'll also compare the two of them. But you know my speed. I don't want to rush through. So Arushi, this phosphate one, you have to check it again. See, we had X2 plus and phosphate is PO4 3 minus. Okay. So 2 will come here, 3 will come here. So we'll have X3 phosphate will be in bracket and it will be 2 here. Understood now, Arushi? Okay. So ethene is C2H4. Let's try. This is the last question of the day. And then we'll meet in the next class. So C2H4 is, carbon is 2, 4. So each carbon atom will share 4 electrons, right? Because it needs 4 electrons, so it will share 4 electrons. And hydrogen, it will only share 1 electron to become like helium. It will share 1 electron. Okay, so we have 2 carbon atoms C2 and 4 hydrogen atoms. So we have 2 carbon atoms and 4 hydrogen atoms. So let us divide them equally. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Let us now show the electrons. See, we know that hydrogen is only sharing 1 electron. So let's first draw the electrons of hydrogen and get done with it. So 1, it is sharing with carbon. This is 1 electron of carbon. Similarly, this hydrogen also, it shares 1 electron with this carbon. Okay. This hydrogen also, it will share 1 electron with 1 electron of carbon. And this hydrogen, it will share 1 electron with 1 electron of carbon. Okay, this much is sorted. We just need to complete the octet of carbon now. We know that carbon will share 4 electrons in total. So it has already shared 2 electrons with the 2 hydrogen atoms. Okay, it has to share 2 more electrons, but we only have another carbon atom now. So this carbon, it will share 2 electrons with this carbon atom. Similarly, the second carbon atom, it will also share 2 electrons with the first carbon atom. See, now each carbon atom is sharing 4 electrons. 2 with carbon, 2 with hydrogen. So if we try to draw their boundaries, carbon should have 8 electrons, no? So see this. Carbon has 8 electrons. It is stable. Similarly, even this carbon, it has 8 electrons. So this is also stable. And these hydrogen atoms, they have a stable duplet like this. So are there any lone pairs on carbon atom? No, right? All the electrons are bond pairs. It is sharing all its 4 electrons. And let me draw the simplified structure. So carbon is forming double bond with another carbon and single bonds with hydrogen. Single bonds with hydrogen. Okay. And just before we say goodbye, I'm giving you a question for homework. Try that. You have to draw the Lewis dot diagram of ethine. Wow, very good, Meghna. All of you. Thank you. Next is ethine, and its formula is C2H2. So this is for homework. Please try this and we'll discuss it on Friday. Either on Friday or on Monday, because this Friday I think Walter is planning to take an extra class for you. So I'll either see you on Friday or on Monday and we'll finish chemical bonding. It will be a small class of about 1 to 1.5 hours.